Hey everyone. This week before Easter, we've been walking through day by day what the Bible tells us Jesus endured the week before his crucifixion. Wednesday. The Bible doesn't give us a whole lot of what happened on Wednesday, but what the Bible does give us is a very dark picture of how Jesus came to be betrayed, arrested, and then crucified. Mark tells us that it was on Wednesday, but Luke expands and says, "Now the feast of unleavened bread drew near, which is called the Passover. And the chief priests and the scribes were seeking how to put him to death, for they feared the people." It was clear that Jesus was on their radar. There was a bullseye on his back. But the religious leaders were wise enough to know that they couldn't pull this off in the presence of the people who adored Jesus and wanted to listen to his message. On Saturday, we have to rewind a few days. Jesus was at his friend's house in Bethany, a little village 2 miles east of Jerusalem. And at his friend's house, a woman came and she broke a bottle of precious ointment and poured it on Jesus' feet. When she did that, the aroma filled the room as she worshiped him, wiping his feet with her hair. But one of the disciples, one of the 12, Judas Iscariot, was angered by what he considered a great waste. The Bible tells us he was a thief and he was the treasurer for Jesus and his disciples, and he often would help himself to some of the money in the bag, and he complained that the ointment, the perfume, could have been sold for a great price and then given to the poor. Jesus explained that you always have the poor, but what this woman had done meant so much that the gospel would never be preached except that her act of devotion would be mentioned. From Saturday through Wednesday, Judas Iscariot brooded over that act. Whether he felt embarrassed, whether he felt rejected, or whether he was simply trying to prompt Jesus into some act, we're not exactly sure. But we do know that he had help. Luke continues and says, "Then Satan entered into Judas called Iscariot, who was of the number of the 12. He went away and conferred with the chief priests and officers how he might betray him to them. And they were glad and agreed to give him money. So he consented and sought an opportunity to betray him to them in the absence of a crowd." Matthew tells us that they paid him 30 pieces of silver. This was Wednesday night. They would not have long to wait.